Kindness feels natural, it comforts. The soul, it earns. Smiles, it inspires gratitude, and yet kindness alone does not build empires. Kindness does not hold armies together. Kindness does not secure loyalty when the world is harshest. Power does a leader who tries to make everyone happy loses everything. Leadership is not about being liked, it is about being respected. Respect is not always born from love. Sometimes it is born from fear, a fear that ensures obedience, order, and survival. History does not remember the kind it remembers. The strong, those who carried the weight of the world on their shoulders. Those who made decisions. Others were too afraid to make. Every empire, every kingdom, every civilization that rose to greatness had leaders who embraced harsh realities. They understood that mercy has a cost, that compassion, when applied blindly, can destroy everything. The great rulers of history did not ask if their actions were popular. They asked, will this secure the future? Will this protect those who depend on me? And when the answer required ruthlessness, they acted without hesitation. Leadership is a lonely place. Every choice is measured against consequences that few can understand. Every decision carries the weight of life and death, success and ruin, stability and chaos. The leader sees farther, imagines storms before they arrive, steps into danger, so others may remain safe too. Save the many. A leader must sometimes sacrifice the few to prevent chaos. A leader must sometimes act cruelly. Cruelty in the hands of someone who understands its purpose is not destruction, it is preservation, discipline, order. Survival generals of the past did not hesitate to send their troops into battles they knew would be deadly. They understood hesitation could cost far more than action. They knew that the lives they sacrificed were not meaningless. They were investments in survival security. Continuity. History repeats itself because the same principles remain. True leaders who tried to lead with only kindness faltered. Those who refused necessary cruelty were overthrown, defeated, or ignored. Leadership without decisive action is leadership without purpose. Mercy is celebrated. In stories, heroes forgive. Legends show compassion, yet in leadership, mercy without strategy can. Leadership without decisive action is leadership without purpose. Mercy is celebrated. In stories, heroes forgive. Legends show compassion. Yet, in leadership, mercy without strategy can destroy. A single act of kindness can embolden enemies, weaken allies, and compromise goals. Sometimes to preserve order, to save lives, cruelty is inevitable. Every empire that endured, every society that survived, every nation that prospered owed its existence to leaders who understood this principle. They understood that people demanding kindness in crisis rarely understand the stakes. They do not see the trembling world beneath the fragile society, the delicate balance, keeping civilization intact. A leader must be the cold center in a storm of chaos, the calm hand when everyone panics, the voice of authority when everyone shouts, the figure who makes decisions no one else dares to make. Leadership is not comfort, it is responsibility, and responsibility is rarely easy, never. Kind power is not forgiving, it does not wait. Every second wasted is an opportunity for disorder, for rebellion, for collapse. When a leader hesitates, chaos creeps in. The people who look to them for guidance suffer. True cruelty is not evil. When guided by wisdom, it becomes a tool, a means to maintain order, protect the greater whole, and secure survival, a tool of strategy, foresight, and preservation. Look at moments of crisis in history: empires teetering on collapse, armies facing annihilation, societies. Leaders who survived acted cruelly when necessary. They knew that delaying hard decisions for comfort or compassion was a luxury. They could not afford. Leadership demands sacrifice, not just comfort, but reputation, popularity, even morality. Leaders must weigh lives against lives' futures, against present stability, against emotion. They must carry guilt, judgment, isolation, knowing their decisions will be condemned, misunderstood, feared. This burden separates the great from the mediocre, the strong from the weak. Leaders who endure, understand, to wield power responsibly. Cruelty must sometimes be used intentionally and without hesitation, not cruelty for pleasure, not cruelty for vengeance, cruelty for necessity, for survival, for order, for the future. Every action, every harsh word or command is measured against the consequences of inaction. Often the cruel choice is the only choice that preserves life, protects people, and ensures the vision survives. Leaders act when others cannot. They decide when others hesitate. They bear decisions others fear to imagine. When dust settles, chaos fades, storms pass, the people celebrate the victory, unaware of the harsh measures required to achieve it. It is the quiet burden of leadership to be hated, feared, misunderstood, fall for the sake of those who rely on you, and yet it is the ultimate responsibility to shape events, protect the innocent, maintain order, secure the future. Leaders who refuse necessary cruelty fail, they falter, they fall. Those who depend on them suffer. History is full of leaders. Defeated leadership without courage to act decisively is leadership without purpose. The world does not bend for kindness, it bends for strength, for vision, for decisiveness and strength. Sometimes demands cruelty, strength demands harshness, strength demands actions judged unfairly, misunderstood, condemned. But in the lens of survival, of history, it is the right choice. Power is not comfortable. Leadership is not easy. It is not for the faint of heart. It demands sacrifices invisible to the crowd, demands measured, calculated, sometimes cruel actions, demands choices no one else can make, demands responsibility. With responsibility comes understanding. Cruelty is not failure, but a tool to protect, guide, survive. So ask, should a leader be cruel? The answer is not desire, morality, or choice. The question is, can they afford not to be? Can they bear the consequences of inaction? Can they watch as chaos consumes all they were entrusted to protect? Mercy alone is insufficient. Compassion alone is insufficient. Kindness alone is insufficient. What is required is vision, courage, decisiveness, and the willingness to act, even when judgment threatens to crush you. The world is not kind. People do not always understand. History is not forgiving. Yet those who embrace this truth, who understand the necessity of cruelty, are the ones who endure. They survive. They shape nations, civilizations. The future, the real question, is not, should a leader be cruel? The real question is, can they afford not to be when the storm is fiercest? When the world demands a decision no one else will make. Mercy is not enough. Kindness fails. Only strength, guided by wisdom, tempered by calculation, executed decisively, preserves the world. And that is why leaders must be cruel, not because they desire it, not because they are evil, but because responsibility leaves them no other choice, because survival demands it, because order demands it, because the future demands it. In that understanding lies the true burden, the true power, the essence of leadership, the ability to bear what others cannot, to act when others hesitate, to protect when others falter. This is the truth of leadership, and this is why leaders must be cruel. Kindness inspires, but leadership demands more. A leader is not measured by how beloved they are, but by how capable they are of carrying the weight of responsibility. True leadership is tested in moments of crisis, when hesitation can cost lives, stability, or the very future of a society. A leader must see beyond comfort, beyond popularity, beyond fear of judgment. They must act when others hesitate, and make decisions that few dare to imagine. The world does not pause for mercy or wait for kindness. It moves relentlessly, demanding strength, foresight, and decisiveness. Power is not gentle. It does not wait for consent or approval. A leader must act decisively, even when those actions are misunderstood, feared, or condemned. Strength is not about cruelty for its own sake, but about ensuring survival, protecting the innocent, and securing a vision for the future. Sometimes the hardest choice is the only choice that preserves order and stability. Leaders who shy away from responsibility fail not because they lack kindness, but because they lack courage, clarity, and resolve. They fail because the world does not bend for hesitation, it bends for action and vision. Every decision carries consequences. Every action or inaction ripples through lives, societies, and nations. Every moment wasted can cost more than any calculated risk. To lead is to carry burdens that others cannot see, to bear guilt, judgment, and isolation for choices that must be made. To lead is to act when the storm is fiercest, when chaos threatens, when everyone else flees or freezes. Mercy is noble but incomplete without the willingness to enforce order and protect the greater whole. Kindness alone cannot secure survival, stability, or the future of those who depend on you. Leadership demands a balanced vision, tempered by calculation, decisiveness, guided by wisdom. It demands understanding that sometimes harshness is necessary, that sometimes cruelty is a tool, not a failure. It demands acting for the many, even if it costs the few. It demands foresight to see danger before it arrives, and courage to meet it head-on. Leaders must measure every choice against consequences of inaction and understand that inaction is itself a decision. They must endure condemnation and hatred, knowing that their actions are for the preservation of all. The world is unforgiving. Survival is not won by popularity, comfort, or compassion alone. It is won by foresight, strategy, and sometimes necessary ruthlessness. A leader's strength is their responsibility, the power to protect, endure, and shape the future, even at the cost of being feared. Leadership is not easy. It is not for the faint-hearted or those who seek approval. It is the burden of action, the weight of impossible decisions, the courage to do what must be done when others cannot. It is the willingness to stand in the storm when everyone else seeks shelter. True leadership is not measured in praise or gratitude. It is measured in survival. Leadership is not comfort. It is not measured by how many love you or cheer for you. It is measured by how many depend on you, how many lives rely on your decisions. A true leader must see clearly beyond fear, beyond emotion, beyond hesitation. They must act when others pause, when others doubt, when others falter. The world waits for no one. It demands action, courage, and foresight. It demands someone willing to carry burdens others cannot imagine. Strength is not easy. It is not gentle